And we should be live as far as this says. Hi everyone, if you're here. If not, we'll give everyone a few seconds to pop in since YouTube and StreamYard aren't synced as far as their timing, so it always gives you an hour off. So that's always fun. um anyway, so I see Minx already said hello to us. Hi Minx. She was here early to say hi. But we're going to give everybody a few minutes to pop in and we'll go get started. I'm going to pull up to make sure I have it ready back to your questions, that the critiques that you want, so that way I can tell the audience if they want to throw any
Right.
critiques
Thank you.
down.
Thank you.
Of course. So we're going to make sure this is definitely the type of show, and following off of Critique Group Live in general, we're very accepting here, and we want to make sure that everyone's comfortable and no judgments here. Even though we are critiquing someone's work, in my book, if the writer says they want this type of critique, this is the critique that you stick to. Now, of course, we have the type of critiques that people say, just let me have it, you know. Now, if they say that, then you can go ahead and go to town, you know, and give them all you got. But when they ask for something very specific, that's what we like to stick to. So I'm gonna make sure I have that pulled up. Let's see here. Still waiting for a few people to pop in. I'll say hi as people, and we're going to introduce ourselves, though. Everyone here should know who we are, but we never know. We never know.
My husband's watching football right now in the other room, so I'm hoping and praying that he doesn't like start screaming or whatever, because there's no door on this office. So you guys,
that's fine. I have a 5-year-old, so if someone hears something, there's not much I can do.
Right.
So we'll just leave it at that. All right, I just wanted to make sure I had that up here. Is that the one? I think that's not the one.
Yeah, and I don't have my YouTube pulled up at all because it always causes issues. So I'm trying to keep that at a minimum so that way this goes off really well.
No, it'll be fine. I'm sure it'll be fine. Hello, Barrett. We have Barrett here. Hi, the leader of the original CGL, and this is the spin-off of it, Horror Edition. Oh, no, you're not late at all. You know, we always have to give everybody a few minutes to pop in. Hello, Write the Dang Thing. I love that title. That's awesome. All right, so we'll go ahead. I'll let my lovely co-host here and guest introduce herself first, and I will make you full screen.
Oh, boy.
Oh boy, I know.
Nobody needs to see this. That's a horror thing all in itself. Hi guys, I'm Bex. I have a YouTube channel called The Novel Nana. I'm sure you've seen me on there, hopefully. Let's see, I upload on Thursdays, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. I am an INFJ on the MBTI, so quite the rare bird. I write in the horror genre. I do dabble in other genres, but mostly horror. And let's see, what else? I'm a Nana. And I'm trying to get together a short story collection for all of you, ready to go out to beta soon. So I will be reading a story from that tonight called Burning Love. And all of my links, you can find linked below. I'm on the socials, guys. Go check them out.
All righty. All right, so as you see, that's Novel Nana, and she will be reading Burning Love. I have had the pleasure of already reading that, and actually have had the pleasure to read quite a many of her other things, and she is amazing. Such a good horror writer, here to scare us all. For real. So I will introduce myself. If you don't know, I am author G. Artillery, also known as the Mistress of Horror. I do write mainly horror, but I also dibble and dabble other things, because why keep everything in one yard, I'd say. This show is a spin-off of the CGL original from Barrett Laurie's channel, and this is the horror edition. So here we will be actually critiquing one guest per month on the show, so that way we could get more horror writers in front of more people. So I'm looking for more people. So if you are a horror writer or interested in writing horror and you have a piece that is not published, then please do fill out the form I have linked below, and then I can probably try to get you on the show. And just follow the little information in the form, and I will be in contact with you, of course. So you know us. Now it's time for us to get into the show. We have fun topics tonight to talk about, actually. So let's go ahead. I'm going to put us back on split screen. And the first thing I want to do is make sure I got everybody that's in the chat. Let me double check that, make sure anyone else pop in on me. Yeah, everyone's here. Okay, cool. If you are here, give us a like on the video, and also make sure you say hi in the chat so we know you're here. Of course, this is all like scary stuff, so if you hide, I wouldn't be shocked. Not
It's
at
not
all.
too
That's
scary tonight. It's not too
not
scary.
that scary. It's not that scary. We have different levels of horror,
That's
so
right.
you don't have to feel too uncomfortable. All right. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to have our topic section, and you can also answer this in the chat. Let me pull the banner up for this one. So we have our chat and topics section, and this is the first question. What is your favorite and least favorite type of horror and why? So you can think about that for a minute and answer, and I'm going to go ahead and let Bex answer this question first, and she is my guest here, and see what she thinks. We all have different feelings as far as horror and what we do and do not like. Hello, AF Stewart. Nice to see you. But yeah, so let's jump right into this question. Bex, I will turn it over to you so you go ahead and answer this
Okay.
question.
Real quick, thank you so much for having me on. I so appreciate it.
Of course.
I think that, well, I don't know if a lot of people know that there are so many different types of horror. So, I personally like most all horror, but I kind of lean more towards the realistic versions, like when the people are the monsters. I do like that, but I think my runner-up would probably be the Cosmo type horror, where there's a creature, not a human. But the things that I don't like in horror, I'm okay with gore to a certain extent, obviously, but but I don't like things when they're not explained. Like if you're going to use a creature, a magical or other realm creature or monster, then I like to know, what their backstory is. I need to know that because I need to be able to picture it in my head, and I don't like things overly explained, but give me a reason, their origin or something, because that's what I think makes it more relatable, more scary, kind of roots in horror for me. And that's it. Back to you.
Cool. Alrighty. So as you can see, we all have different the way we feel about horror and different types of horror that we like and prefer. So again, anybody in the chat, you can go ahead and answer that question, and I will bring your answers up on the screen. Now myself, I like cosmic horror as my main. Now, a lot of people may not know what cosmic horror is, but cosmic horror, you could think H.P. Lovecraft if you have not. He kind of made the genre appear and come into our eyesight. So it's cosmic. It's a being that is unexplained in a way. They do explain them sometimes, but a lot of the times they are not grounded in our reality, where we would have demons and things like that. Even though they would be unimaginable, they still would be grounded in our reality to a certain extent. Cosmic beings may not be so, and cosmic beings tend to walk through time. They are not, one place or another. Hello, Adam. Thanks for popping in. And so that's why I like cosmic horror, because it's not all explained. So you see the kind of like the opposite of what Beck said. So this is why I have these topics, so that way we can all see the differences of our tastes and such. My second favorite probably would be paranormal. So we go into ghosts and hauntings and stuff like that. Now, yes, Barrett, you like psychological. Yes, I'll bring that up in a second. Because cosmic horror is very psychological, but psychological horror stands on its own. Meaning, a lot of the time you will be watching a psychological horror and not know that psychologicalness is going on. Meaning also that it seems like it's real, and it probably isn't. Right. So it kind of messes with you. It really depends. It could mess with the main character or everyone in the movie, or it could be messing with you, the watcher or reader, So that's why psychological horror is a very good type of horror in my book. Then my least favorite is thrillers.
Right.
And I say that very loosely, only because I'm not interested, or nor am I afraid of stuff that wraps around the reality of our reality that we live in, such as, what I mean is, humans fighting humans.
Yeah.
Humans fighting humans. I really don't have much interest in that when I come down to my horror. I like creatures, the unexplained, something that we cannot be easily. To me, if it's human to human, there's some even ground because
Yeah.
we're all the same. So, granted, there are some of us who are stronger than the others, some of us who are, psychologically gone than the others, and which can make us be stronger and fight and kill and things like that. But still, I would fight you, in my
Yes.
opinion. So I'm like, if you're a human coming at me, okay, no matter if you got a weapon, no matter what the case may be, I am going to try to live because
Yeah.
you're another human coming at me. So I could possibly live being you. Now, when you got a creature that has like 15 tentacles and all kinds of weird eyes and all kinds of big teeth and mouth, my chances have lowered. So this is why I prefer that type of horror, because it's not as likely that you're going to win. You could have a percentage of winning, even with that thing. Like, I would still possibly try to fight, but I mean, my chances are very low in this case. So this is why I like monster horror and things like werewolves and things like that. Things that could beat us, that's scary to me. The unexplained is more scary to me. Once I have all the answers, if they're like, okay, they tell me that this beast came from the highest mountain on our planet, and it mutated because someone airdropped something, and then it turned into this, and it became a beast, and it started eating people. Okay, it has less fear for me because now I have all the information. Now let me figure out a way to beat this thing. Now I have the information to beat it. So that's why I'm kind of like, I kind of don't want to know. But horror works either way. Yes. Horror, you can go, tell me everything, or you can go, tell me some things, or you can go, at the end, you're like, what happened? So that's the good thing about that, So yes, there is so many different types of horror. So I'm going to check everyone's answers in the chat who answered the question. Let me scroll back up and see where we're at. All righty. Oh, Adam, you don't have to about being late. There's no late here. There's no late here.
I will say I don't like jump scare type thing.
Yeah, some people don't like that.
But I do dig the psychological aspect of it.
Sometimes I get mad at psychological, though. I'm just going to tell you now, because seriously, they'll have me this whole time, and then it's not real. And I'm like, what?
Yeah, that when I like the twist endings, like the Skeleton Key movie, where in the end you find out, or even like the Sixth Sense.
Yeah.
I like that type.
Right. I get you. Sixth Sense was really good too. Yeah. I mean, there's so many good ones. And I've seen, funny that Thriller is my least favorite. That's why I said least favorite, meaning I don't dislike it per se. I mean, I've made a video about that before, about like, I really don't like thrillers, but I don't like them for that reason, that I'm like, I already know what I'm getting into though.
Right.
If it tells me it's a thrill, I'm like, well, it's probably going to be a person like trying to kill somebody. I write serial killers and stuff myself, so it's not like I hate it, but it's just that I prefer, if someone said, let's watch horror, and I'm like, all right, give me something that's like gonna make me like get a little creeped out while I'm watching this. Let's not turn the lights off type of thing. All right.
I don't have a problem writing it. I just don't like to watch a lot of horror.
Right. Okay, I mean, it's different. I mean, I think you're really good at the gore. Like, you're really good at the gore. So if you don't really like, I don't really care about trying to watch gore though, but you're really good at writing it. So you're making the good stuff out here for us who like gore, because I like gore sometimes. Hatchet is really gory, and I really liked Hatchet. I got Hatchet 1 and 2. I even bought it when it came out.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they're really good. You got to be very specific about when you buy a movie. You must really be into that because you bought it. Like, you can just watch it anywhere, but you'll be like, I gotta buy this because I liked it. Yeah. And the guy who plays in Hatchet actually is one of the masters of horror. He's like really, really big. He scares people when he's on the set. He's scaring the actors.
A lot of movies.
He's so creepy. I think his name is Kane, actually, which is funny. All right, so Barrett answered the question. He said, I'm more of a psychological horror person myself. I'm a baby. I would say so, because psychological get pretty in there, in depth in there. Granted, sometimes it turns around where it's like, because psychological go either way. Psychological can be like, this isn't really happening. It's all the imagination of this person, blah, blah, blah. And it still could be psychologically messing with you, and it's still happening.
Yes.
Okay, so you could still at the end be like, so it could go either way with psychological, honestly. All right, and AF Stewart said, I like psychological horror or mythic horror.
Mythic horror. Yeah, that's another one.
That's another good one. Hi, RC Scott. Thanks for joining us. That part always messes with me. Oh, yeah.
Messes with us all.
I feel it.
Yeah.
Mythical horror. Yeah, mythical horror. It's so many horrors. Like, it's so many types of horror out there. Adam said favorite is the goth style horror like Dracula and Frankenstein. Yes, those are really good, of course, classics. Least is horror is jump scares and gore for like no reason. Think Jeepers Creepers or something like that. Yeah, see now Jeepers Creepers. That's a whole other. Now Jeepers Creepers, when that first came out, was like, okay, this is really good. But then like the way it ends. Spoiler alert! I'm warning you right now. I'm going to talk about the ending. If you didn't see it, you need to go see it. But so when he carries the boy away at the end, and then they show or let you hear it, like him getting skinned, and like, and he like wanted his eyes this whole time, but his sister wasn't afraid.
And then the sound.
Right. He got his body parts from the different people, but then his sister was not afraid. And like the thing was kind of like worried of her because of that being like a fear demon.
Yeah.
So it's like, so creepy. So when Jeepers Creepers 2 came out, I was all there for that. Like, but yeah, I'm in for the gore, which I was kind of laughing. What's her name? Elizabeth. She did a reading of like a whole vlog of the new book that we're in, not Local Haunts, but the Serve Cold. And she did a whole vlog, which is really, really awesome. And she did like every story. And when she got to mine, she said, this is another one of the gory ones. I'm like confused. Like, was it gory? Was it messy? I don't remember that.
Right.
Just a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, I
don't think worse.
Right? I was like, I don't think so. Nostalgic, hopeless horror. Okay. A cosmic indifference, but also a good gore fest. Oh, hey, when you're in the mood for gore fest, listen, you're in the mood for gore fest. At least they have it. Yeah, I'm not messing with a monster, right? Though that's what I'm saying. Like, okay, like as a human, I'm gonna be like, you might be stronger than me, but this also will sink through your flesh just as easy as it does mine. This gun, you might, do the same thing as do what you gonna do to me. I can punch you just like you can punch me. I can do all the things you do, but
I might be able to find a bigger stick,
right? But if I'm talking about a monster, I don't know what the things you want to do. It's got like those ones that got all the teeth and stuff.
Yeah, like teeth are gonna like squirt
out. That's one of the worst things to be eaten. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And then like,
it's creepy.
What is it doing with all those tentacles? Like, what is it going to do?
Yeah. Where are those tentacles going? Like,
right? What are you doing? So I don't know what's going to do. So that's like exactly. You let people understand what I'm saying here. Like, oh my goodness.
There's so many different types of horror. Like, if you don't like one type of horror, don't write horror off, because there are so many different types that you are more than likely to find one that will hold your interest, that you will like.
And I think some people
write it off.
I think some people get confused too about like what is in horror. Like I think they forget werewolves and vampires are part of horror.
Is still part of horror.
A lot of people think like because you have the romanticized versions of all things, really. So they kind of forget. But there's romance horror too. I write it, so that exists too. It can be twisted at times or not so twisted, but it exists. You know what I mean? And RC Scott said, depends on the monster. I'll fight Dracula, but not the Thing.
Right?
That makes sense. Right?
Yeah.
Right. That makes sense. Why would you like an endomorph, like the Thing? You don't really want to fight that because if you even touch it, you're getting involved. Like, you know what I mean? And
like the
monster, like Dracula, he has weaknesses. Now we know his weaknesses. Yeah. This is what I was talking about earlier. We know his weaknesses. The sun, classic steak-um, like that. Right. And that's a running joke with the vampire thing. It's like, oh, you stake him through the heart, and then, in some stories it's paralyzing, or they, the Buffy era is like turn him to dust, which is like the stupidest thing ever. We're not gonna get into that. But the stake thing, that would pretty much mess up anybody.
Right.
If you stake anybody in the heart, I got a problem here. Like,
now something like the mist or the fog,
yes,
or the blob stuff, like
yes.
that would scare me more because you have no idea
What's happening?
what it's going to do. What can it do to you? How do you
You
fight
just
it?
know it's probably something bad.
Yes,
Nothing
you
good.
just know that it's bad and you want
Nothing
to run
good's
for your
gonna
life.
happen here.
Yeah.
Right? All right. And Adam says Sixth Sense was amazing. Yes, yes, it
Yes, it totally
was.
was.
Definitely. Ever see the French horror film?
Martyrs.
Yeah, Mars, yeah. The one will ruin your day.
Ruin
Yeah.
your day.
If you ask me a horror movie, I've probably seen it. At least he didn't turn Justin Long into a war. Yeah, well, that's
Oh, I
true.
hated that. I did not like
Right?
that show, Walrus. That just was like, not for
Right,
me.
though.
No,
I know
no.
that is funny.
Mm-mm.
RC says most of my stories have disturbing gore, which I love.
I'm okay with that.
Well, we got to get you on the show then. So if you're writing something, you can read an excerpt from it. It doesn't have to be the whole thing. It doesn't have to be a short. So if you're interested in getting critique, and you can always ask what kind of critique you're looking for, then you need to fill out and get on here because I'm looking for horror writers. We need to make sure people see us. Let's see, but I'll try to hit all the subgenres of horror. Yes, Lovecraftian, body horror, supernatural, all of it. Yes, definitely. Got to get it all. Gorefest, the Green Inferno. Yes,
That right there, the dang thing. That's my
yeah.
cousin who I just brought to AuthorTube 3 days ago. So
Awesome,
like,
good job bringing people in.
he
Do it, do
only
it, do it.
writes fantasy though.
Oh,
So
that's cool.
it's like,
I love
oh, we gotta get
fantasy.
her on horror.
My favorite writer of all time is R.A. Salvatore, who's a fantasy
writer. Yeah.
That's right.
Yep.
All right, so RC says the Peter Jackson zombie flick Dead Alive. Yes, Ultimate Gore Fest. Yes, another
Or
one.
Night of the Living Dead, the original.
Of course, I've seen all the originals, the black and whites, all of it.
Yes.
Yes, thank you, Barrett. The horror romance. Yes, I always like to dibble and dabble in
Let's
there.
make out with the monster type horror.
Even they can be pretty too sometimes. Adam says for any British or Doctor Who fans, the Weeping Angels are so scary. Yes, very much so.
Yeah.
All right, see, I'm putting stories on Kindle this year. First time doing so. That's why I'm crawling out of my back cave to meet the AuthorTube crowd. Only been writing for 2 years now. That's right. Doesn't matter how long you've been writing. A writer's a writer. That's right. Oh, hey, Colin. He made it. Colin Clark's here. One of my fave YouTube people. All right, so we have a second question for everybody before we get into the next segment. And that is, do you prefer a happy ending, a tragic ending, an unexplained ending, everyone dies ending, or a sad ending for your horror table? So I'll answer this one first this time, then I'm going to let my lovely guests go next. And then you guys can all think in your heads and then put it in the chat for me. I personally, while watching horror, prefer a tragic ending or unexplained ending. I don't really like a happy ending in my horror. Now, some people prefer that. That's why, like, if I'm in the mood for like things ending poorly, most of the time I'll look at zombie horror because most of the time everyone dies or they get stuck in such a place that nothing turned out well. Or I don't mind a happy ending. It really depends. Now, you know what I mean? Like if it's like the characters, it all's based on the characters. If these are like some really crappy people, like if there's some really crappy people, and then they tried. I really can't stand horror that do this. You got really crappy people that really did some really crappy things to some specific person, and then they somehow flip it around and make the really crappy people like, oh, we're going to make them live, and now the person that they were bullying or something is now the villain. And I'm like, no. You
can't redeem them.
Let's not do that. This is why we have horror. Save that for your drama. Like time to redeem them. We can show the characters through like why they blah blah blah.
Yes.
I don't care why they did what they did. Just get rid of them.
Yeah.
You know? This is why we're here for the horror. We're not here for the redemption arc and all that jazz. Okay. Like Last House on the Left. Like I was like, get them. You know, we had it coming. So that type of thing, that's my preferred type of horror ending. So I'll turn it over to Novel Nana.
Okay, so if you've read any of my stuff, it's usually a combination of the two. Like I either kill them all or I make it incredibly sad and kill them all, or or sometimes it'll be a very tragic ending. I don't really do well with the unexplained endings just because I like to have things wrapped up. So if they're going to invest in a story of mine, then I would like to give them some sort of ending. Whether they like it or not, it's an ending, right?
Something. They might be mad at you, but hey.
Yeah, it's okay. Be mad, but read the book, you know?
That's right.
As far as happy endings, I don't like happy endings with my heart. Especially if it's a cosmic type horror, because, it's always the same thing. It's always like, cosmic horror comes. Oh, my ring light. I hate this thing. I swear it gives me nothing but problems.
Okay, we can still see you. You're good.
Okay, good. Otherwise, we're in the dark over here. But like, I don't like when, like cosmic horror, like they kill the beast and then everybody lives happily ever after.
Oh,
like, they don't go by the same rules as, Earth. So maybe give us a hint that, they've laid an egg somewhere and it's opening. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
That I like. I don't do the happy endings. I would prefer a tragic ending or a sad ending or everybody dies ending. So that's
it might, and it might also depend sometimes on if the monster is actually the real character, main character.
Yes.
You know that, because then it most likely would end bad, I guess, for everybody if the monster won. In some cases you want the monster to win, in some cases not, and it can still end one way or the other. I have an example of the difference here, and it's from the same story, but the book compared to the movie. It. Yeah.
Yes.
I talk about it because everyone's seen the movie. Not everyone has read the book because it's a massive thing.
Yes, it's huge. You see this?
Right? It's ridiculous. I know. Huge. I had like the white one with just its teeth on the cover, and it's this thick. But the movie adaptation, rather we go old movie adaptation, which I looked at it yesterday, the old movie adaptation.
I like the old one.
We have the new one. Okay. Either way, and then it's kind of compared to the book. And granted, I'm not an It fan of the book,
right?
Because reasons, and Stephen King can be quite long-winded, and just reasons for it. But the end of it, again, spoiler, if you haven't read it and you don't know what the real ending is, I'm sorry, I'm about to tell you, so you might want to skip out for a minute and mute me. I'm giving warnings. It, at the end, they didn't beat it.
Nope.
And in the book, the entire dairy turned into a crater. And the adults left, the ones that lived, because, one died. They left and forgot again. That was your clue. Stephen King did give you a clue that it's not dead. Because it is a cosmic being that exists on multiple planes. It also knew about them, as children knew about them as adults, knew that it had been beaten, air quote beaten. And that's why I said you can't beat me. First off, it's like, come on. That was a bad, somewhat ending, but it didn't seem like it because mostly everyone lived, but the one. Now, the movie adaptation, the old one, characters riding on the bike with his wife because she saw the dead lights, and then, he's trying to wake Audra up, and then he kisses her, she wakes up because they was riding real fast down the road, like, what's going on? So she wakes up, and then they kiss, and it pans out. I'm like...
I just love John.
I was like, all right, this is lame. But that's fine. I don't mind the kiss scene part. That's not the problem. It's the whole part of like, what's this got to do with anything? Right. But then the newer version wasn't much. It was similar, but it didn't really go into that. They didn't even make Bill have a wife on that one, which is stupid because he did in the book.
He had one in the
Sometimes when they change stuff in film, I don't get it, and it's not because of timing. It's not because they need to shorten things. Sometimes it's because they figure they can write better.
Yep.
And it's like, why'd you take his wife away? I'm like,
what did that do for the story? Like, really, what did it add?
Right. And then the original was also bad with this too because it made little Eddie, like he was still living with his mother. He was married too. So granted, he married a woman just like his mother.
Right.
But he was married too. And then, okay, no one wants to talk about this when they talk about it. The
The scene,
the child scene.
yeah, the scene,
Creepy scene that just ruined the whole book. Like this creepy scene at the end, and then they like when they do parts in the movie where there's like, okay, the part with Eddie when he says to Bev and them like before they go fight it for the last time, they're like, he's like, oh guys, like I have to tell you something, and he was like, I never loved anybody, never been with anybody, and I was sitting there like,
yeah, you were all of you
with Bev, like all
right?
of you were with Bev.
Yeah.
I was like, what are they talking about? Because they're trying to act like it didn't happen. I'm like, why is everybody sitting here act like that didn't occur?
No,
Like,
I'm okay with them putting it in the movie like it didn't happen because it shouldn't have been in there, right?
I know.
Like, that was just one step too far. Like,
nobody wants to talk about it because it's uncomfortable to talk about. This is a fact. Yes, we know kids do things, but the fact that Stephen King wrote it and put it in the book, I'm like, okay, what's the point? He was like, well, that's how they got out of it. And I'm like, you could have literally made anything occur.
Anything else. Use your imagination.
My sir, your imagination went the wrong direction.
Yeah.
Anyway, but that's what I mean. Like, you see how the movie adapted to that, but then the endings were different. It was more happy. Right. And I know why they did it because I hear it all the time. No one wants to invest in that and then it'd be a bad ending. They knew what they were signing up for and they signed up for horror.
Yeah.
You want happy ending, look at a romance, look at a drama, right? Look at a drama, like,
yes.
Don't come here for that if you don't, there are ones that have happy endings, but don't be like, I'm upset because I invested my time and now this is the ending. I'm like, well,
I think sometimes not giving it a happy ending, or even if it has a happy ending, but it comes a little late.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I like that because it hits more of a punch. Like, I think it was The Mist where it had, spoiler alert, but this is like a really super old movie. They had where the dad, was fighting the whole way through, trying to get his kids out of here, trying to save his family. And then right when he gives up and decides, okay, I only have so many bullets left, and he goes ahead and shoots his family and then goes to use it on him, but there's no more gun. And he just let these bugs get him or whatever in the mist. And then it's like, help has come and it's too late.
Right.
He's saved, but really what kind of life is he going to have without his family, knowing that he killed them,
Exactly.
Like, I do like the spin. I like the twist. Just don't make a happy ending, for everybody. It's got to have some sort of emotional impact to keep me invested.
I get you. And that's just the thing. It's like, I don't know. Like, so you can like a happy ending. You can, because some people really won't look at certain horror movies. They know though. They like, well, I'm not going to look at a zombie horror because I already know everybody probably in trouble. You know, so not going to end well. Even if they live, like the two main characters or something live, they're probably going to be stranded on some island. Hopefully the zombies won't come. And then usually they always like, oh, the zombies are here too. So usually not too much of a happy ending is what happens in zombie stuff in most cases. Right. So that's why some people may avoid that. All right, let's see if anybody answered the question or gave their 2 cents on that. All right, I said that's back there. That's a Colin. All right, so Colin says I like an ambiguous ending. Yeah, that's a good one.
I mean,
that's a good one.
Everybody's got their own preference, right?
That's why we keep trying to tell people.
No answer is wrong.
That's why there's so many different types of horror.
Exactly.
So many different types of horror creators out there. RC said I like the bleak ending. Color Out of the Space, Life Force, the Salem Lot novel. Yes, Salem Lot. Yes. AF says I often write the everyone dies ending, so I'll go with that one. That's always a good one. Let's see. Nope, no happy ending. Insanity, death, and destruction. Leaving room for the sequel, of course. That's funny. I like that. All right. And Barrett says, ask me after I get that infusion Wednesday. But this is the highlight of my week. Loving it. I'm glad you're enjoying it. We're having fun. We're ready to get into the next segment too, everyone, because Bex is about to read her awesome story. Now that we all been talking it up and scaring everybody, she's going to go ahead and creep you out some more.
It's really not that scary, y'all. It's okay. It's humans. There's no monsters unless you consider someone else.
I mean, humans can be monsters, but it's just a different type of monster.
Right.
That's all.
I thoroughly enjoy yelling "What the crap" at my TV.
Yes, tragic endings. Right. Who don't like yelling at it, right?
Uh,
Yes, RC Derry did go boom. It did. This is true. All right. Adam said, I love a happy ending as I like my horror to be about a man's resilience against any enemy. You can't do that if everyone dies. This is true. Don't mind bittersweet endings. Yes, those are also nice.
Yep.
Now, with my romance horror, I guess it depends on what your take of what a happy ending is, too, because we can
Yeah.
talk about that for days. What's your idea of a happy ending?
Right.
You know? I mean, I could turn anything creepy. Like
Yeah.
the old I write one of my romance horrors is a mermaid horror. Okay. So
Ooh.
and it's a romance horror, but it's a
I may
mermaid.
have to read that.
Yeah, I can't wait to put that one out. And really the whole concept of it like Splash back in the day with Tom
Yeah.
Hanks and stuff in it. Now everyone's like, okay, this is like a romance, but it's like, supernatural because it's a mermaid and all that jazz. And then like at the end, spoiler alert, at the end, they go down in the water and they're swimming and stuff. Now, if I wrote that, she eats them when they get to her city under the water. I mean, she loved them to death. I mean, let's just be honest. Mermaids are a lot evil than everyone's giving them credit for. Disney may have made them like, oh, la, la, la. But the fact of the matter is, they are they're monsters in the case. That's what they are. So her taking them down under the water and then it goes off like that, like we don't know what happened. We're just assuming. Like,
check your chat real quick.
Yeah, I'll check it. Oh my goodness, I cannot. All right. I'll stay just a few minutes more. You like, yep. We got a few more minutes, and I'm just double check real quick see if anybody else answered the question before we start into our next segment for Bex to read her story.
Yeah, give me just a second.
Oh, you're good. I'm still checking chat. Even if my story, RC says, even if my story has a happy ending, I'll usually have a thriller moment with the yellow eyes at the end. That's always a classic. Always a classic. Let's see. Thank you. Barrett says, can we just drop in at the mic and horror once in a while? Yeah, I love, you can tell once I start talking about that, listen. Yep, once I talking about horror, it's over. Like, I could go for days, okay? And I'm going to keep checking the chat. I don't really want to miss anybody.
Okay.
All right, so let's see here. I'm going to pull up the next banner, but I'm going to go ahead and finish checking everybody for the chat.
Okay.
Let's see. Don't want to miss anybody.
Thank you all for showing up.
Yeah, thanks everyone. Really, they really appreciate you. This show can do really well, and we really want to get more people horror in front of people so they understand that it's not something to be like, ostracizing. It's really not. Like, because
pardon the pun, but it's not something to be afraid of. Like just find a horror that you like and try it.
I always tell people to stay scared, but I mean,
yeah,
that's because I want you to like horror. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Just don't be afraid to write it. Try it.
Right. Let some people like tell their stories. It's okay. But isn't the everyone dies ending Macbeth? Well, right though. And for the alcohol, or at least cut it down. Yeah, I see. I read that. Yeah, I read that one. Okay. Let me make sure I'm missing anyone. All right. Oh, you're fine. You're fine, Richard. You're good. It will be on a replay. It will be on a replay.
That's right. You're gonna miss me reading my story, Richard, but you can always catch it on replay.
That's true. Colin said I cheated once last week. A bottle of wine. Wine sophisticated. But other than that, still doing all right. All righty. Well. Well, yes. I mean, listen, no one's safe in my stuff. Nobody, not even the kitties.
No one is safe.
The original Little Mermaid story is messed up. Yes, it is.
Yes, all of the origin, like Disney's stories. If you look up the origins,
I mean, because the origin of the fairy tales is the Grimm brothers, and it's all Grimm. Yeah, it's Grimm tales. They're not fairy tales. They're Grimm tales. These are the facts with that. All right, so looks like our my connection here. If your Wi-Fi, oh, I don't have Wi-Fi. I'm plugged in. Okay, we're good.
She is
Um,
wired.
right, I'm wired. I don't trust Wi-Fi. Not for this. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and put the new banner up. Story reading and critique. So after she reads her story, we're gonna give her critique. Let me run you through what her critique questions are, what she was looking for. So 1 second, then I'll let her start. So what she's looking for is a critique is I would like to know if pacing or tension are off, or tension is off, I would imagine. If narrative voice is consistent, and if imaginary is clear. So if imagery is clear. So those are the things: imagery, narrative voice. If it's consistent, those things are consistent, and in pacing and tension. So keep an eye out for, listen for that. I should say, keep an ear out for that. Um, and I will go ahead and turn over. Bex, would you like me to put the copy of the thing up there and keep it going with you? Would you just prefer to have the full screen? How would you like that?
Well, I will probably use my avatar, just so you don't get distracted. I just want you to listen.
Yes.
So you can put it up there if you want, but I have a 2 sentence less than what's going to be up there.
Okay, well, I'll just put your screen up there, and you can put your avatar up. I think that'd be better. Unless we're usually looking for grammar issues, I really don't feel the need to put the actual
we're not
up there. So unless that's happening, that's what you guys are going to see.
That's
all right,
so I'll go ahead and start my timer. Let me pull it up.
All right, thank you. 5 minutes it should take.
Yes, ma'am.
All
okay,
right,
guys. It's called Burning Love.
Yes, Burning Love. This is a really good one. All right, I'm going to turn it over to you. I'm going to mute myself out, and everyone give it a listen. It's an awesome tale.
Okay, let me go ahead and pull it up. And here we go. And push start. Now, Irene sat on the floor against the kitchen island and wiped blood from her brow. The gaping wound on her forehead tinged her vision, but she'd been seeing red long before that. She'd been dancing in hell with the devil for nearly 20 years. Amos was his name. Once her Prince Charming, now the embodiment of evil. She chuckled before gagging on the bitter metal flavor in her mouth. Delirious, she giggled like a maniac before her gaze met the bloodshot eyes of the dead man sprawled out on the tiled floor. She yanked his cell from his jean pocket and dialed the only number she remembered, besides 911. It had been far too long. She wasn't sure if Linda would help or even listen, but it was worth a shot. Linda, it's Irene. She summed up her situation as quickly and articulate as she could. By the time she'd hung up the phone, a plan was in place. After all these years, Linda still cared. Stabbing pains in her temple pulsed blood with each heartbeat. Slow and melodic were her every breath. It took immense effort. Jolts ripped through her. When adrenaline wore off, she'd succumb to the shooting spasms and piercing pains. Everything felt fractured. Everything hurt. If Linda didn't come soon, she may lose consciousness or worse, die next to her husband. She mustered the strength to pull herself upright. Using the broom as a crutch to cling to, she managed to stand. With a slight maneuver, she took weight off her right foot. Her head bobbed as she shook off vertigo. She focused on the door to the garage. The kitchen wasn't big by any means. She knew this, but seeing it through tunnel vision made it seem far away. She grunted. She would howl if she thought it would help subdue the agony, but she could barely tolerate the decibels she'd uttered. She couldn't scream for help if she wanted to, but she didn't want to. No one could know she was ever here. It was getting dark. Neighbors would be returning soon. Not that any knew she existed, but she had to be gone before then. Her eyes darted to the road, waiting. Her swelling ankle hurt, but the years of seclusion and violence were over. Amos's brick fist would never again smash her head. His body lay crumbled at her feet like the broken dish of oatmeal from this morning. She'd take the victory and smile. It hurt to do so, but she did it just the same. She stood like Moses, only her staff was a splintered broom handle as she passed through a Red Sea. Irene cursed as she crossed the threshold to the garage, leaving smeared footprints in the bloodstains. She looked to see if there were two sets. There weren't. Amos didn't follow and get up. She stared long enough to trigger a new emotion and blur her vision with fresh, salty tears, but refused to let them fall. Only one set of prints. How wonderful and devastating. Not the mangled mess of Amos. No, that wasn't the source of her despair. It was the fact that she knew no one carried her. No deity or knight in shining armor had rescued her from her misery. She had clawed, kicked, and fought her way to victory. Over the years, she had lost every battle, but finally had won the war. Better late than never. Better alive than dead. She limped to the garage and fumbled for the red can. Irene would have vomited at the scent of gasoline if her nose were able to smell through the swollen membrane. She grabbed it and fell back over the threshold on her ass, dropping her crutch to the concrete. She reached underneath the doormat and retrieved the Zippo that she had stashed there, the same lighter that Amos had spent too long looking for this morning. It enraged him enough to backhand her, blaming her for being late for work. She put the shiny metal between her teeth and scooted over the tile. The sheer effort it took to hold the gas can and pull her body across the floor toward the man she despised was epic. Irene crawled. She couldn't bear to stand. She'd conserved her energy. She would need it soon. She had survived Amos, survived hell. A honk alerted her that the cavalry had arrived. Linda blared her CD. Irene was certain it was the same one that she'd given her years ago on her birthday, the last time she'd seen her. Strange what triggers a memory. Amos had gotten jealous over their talk about Elvis's pelvis. The woman had been giggling like schoolgirls when he had abruptly dragged her out of Linda's house that day by her hair. He had banned her from Linda and vowed if Irene ever thought about playing an Elvis song, there'd be hell to pay. He sealed the deal that night with his fist. Irene broke free from her memories as Elvis sang loudly from the car. She lit the Zippo and gave one last look to Amos in the kitchen. She'd loved that soon-to-be charring monster once, but he never loved her, tender or true. She tossed the Zippo inside with Amos and closed the door. Elvis was on to the next song as the car sped off, the house in flames. Amos was nothing more than a hunk of burning love, a love that'd be ashes soon, but Elvis wouldn't be singing about that.
Good job.
Not too scary.
Under 5 minutes. Look at her.
I had 13 seconds left to spare.
Awesome. All right. So, far as your critique questions, also, everyone, if you have any critiques based around her questions, please put them in the chat so I can read them next. Also, if you have any questions for this awesome writer, any writer questions or author questions or horror questions you would have for her, please go ahead and put those in the chat and put a Q first so I know it's a question for her, because that's the next segment we have coming up after this. All right. So, far as your critique, no, I did not get any. It was it was completely all together as far as the narrative. It kept going straight through. It stayed in its tense and all that. I thought that was really good. That is definitely the type of narrative where the narrator knows it all. You know what I mean?
Yes.
That works very well for that type of story. So I liked that. And the imagery, definitely spot on. I mean, I could see it all happen in my head because of your description. Your description was really well done. I could see the gas can when she picked it up, see herself dragging herself back, and then connecting with the part where she says like she's trying to save her energy, because of getting out of the house once it's set on fire. Yes. So that was really realistic in that setting. I liked it, and I liked the twist of the title with the song being at the end. That was really good when I read that. I'm like, that's really good. I really liked that part. But yes, all everything you asked about is spot on. It's very
tension, pacing.
Good. The pacing was good. I liked it. I thought it had. I mean, because it's a short story, but the pacing was good. I wasn't bored ever. I was listening to every word. So when I read it, also was hanging on every word because of all the description that was good. Because in that type of setting, where she's already killed, and then all the description of what she's feeling, what happened, and you start understanding what occurred as she's as the narrator is going through her head pretty much and giving us that. So it was good. It was just enough tension, just enough pacing. I think it's well done. So bravo to you on that.
Do you think the imagery was too overdone, or was it like
I don't think that there's a too overdone, in my opinion, if that's what you want it to happen. Now, if you, however, didn't want that much imagery or that much description in it, then obviously, that's when it's a problem. It's not a problem if that's what you wanted to put forward.
Okay.
Because I'm always big on tell the story you want to tell, how you want to tell it.
Right.
Everyone has their own rule book, even though there may be a good group of people who have the same rule book, but that doesn't mean other rule books don't exist. As long as you know the rules, you can break them all you want.
Yeah.
Now, as far as the description, I think it's just I thought it was a good amount for the type of story that it is.
Okay.
So I liked the fact, because you want the description in this one also to give the imagery because of what's happening, because of being an abused woman, and then her killing him finally to get free, and then you need those things in order to get in her head in such a short amount of time. You know what I mean? So I think that was well done, in my opinion. All right, so let us check and see if anyone had anything to say.
Who has some stuff for me?
All right. Barrett says, wowza. Yes, it was wowza. It was good. And the dang thing said, so good. I know, right? I have to agree.
Thank you, Keisha.
AF says, excellent.
Thanks, guys.
Colin says, Elvis has left the building. Multiple snapbacks. I like that. Elvis has left the building. Barrett, I loved it. I thought the narrative was consistent. I loved the imagery throughout. It was great, and using the song was so smart, right? I thought the
Barrett knows my trick. I always don't have a title, and then I write it, and then I just pick one thing out of the title.
Right.
So the burning love at the end, that's just what I picked out. And that was the title. So.
Yep, it works. Adam said, yeah, loved it. My favorite is the way you weave Elvis' song, the lyrics into the story, right? Because if you know the song, then I enjoyed the pacing. Yes, see? Very well.
Thank you.
All these people can't be wrong, I'm just telling you. Get those stories out, woman.
I'm trying.
You'll get there.
Beta readers. I need beta readers.
I will beta read for you every day. So, I read most of your stuff already, so I'll read it again. There's no problem.
I think you've read a lot of my stories. So.
I have, and I'll read them again. Colin says, love that story, Bex. Description was fabulous. As I got lost listening from the middle to the end. Well, I think also the setting can use, I think, in my opinion, the character is lost at this point, in my opinion, because of her situation. So really, her decision to kill him was her only way out. And then where is she going to be, at that point? Now, you probably mean lost as like you may have lost like the lead through the story, but that can happen depending on the person that's the reader. You know what I mean? That can happen. It might have nothing to do with the story itself and more to do with how the reader takes in the story. A good example, when I had my beta run for Cagliostro, I started off with 18 people. And one of my readers out of the 18, she said that about chapter 5, she kind of got lost. Like she didn't understand something. Okay. And no one else had the problem.
Just her.
So as a writer, it's not something you have to address just as a whole. Because if it's one person out of a whole group, you don't have to address it if nobody else thought the same thing at the same time. You know what I mean? So that type of thing. So it could be a reader's type of reading, because people read and hear differently than everybody else.
Now, Natalie, if there's a specific section where it lost you at, could you just pop it in the comments? Let me know what was unclear or
where I lost at. I think she said like the middle to the end. So you kind of have to give us where you kind of hear the middle at.
Okay.
I think it's around 900 and something words, I believe. Yeah. So that would be like something specific to that. Like, again, everybody hears differently. So it could have been something that didn't click, but it might be the description pulled her into to the point that she might have missed some kind of leeway. Because like my scene, for instance, I do flashbacks in some of my, in Cagliostro, there's flashbacks to show past memories. So the one scene the woman got lost at, she said, was when Cagliostro was in his office at one point and he was having a partial flashback. He was having a flashback about one of the other characters in the story because he knows them. And then that same character appears outside his office window. And she kind of didn't realize when he came back out of the memory that she's there. So I think that's where she got lost, but everybody else got what happened. because I kind of make my flashbacks obvious. I always let you know that you're going into one because I change
Yeah.
chapters.
Yeah.
But that could be, like I said, the reader could get it that way. Let me look at here.
I just wanted to make sure that it wasn't something that maybe I could
Yeah,
I could do
I
to
think she
improve
did
it.
say. Let me get to it.
Okay.
AF said I thought the imagery was spot on.
Thank you.
Here we go. She had lost in a good way. Envelope by the word. Okay, yeah, so she lost in a good way.
Okay, good. I was like, okay,
That's
I
why I
need to
said it could be.
get something, you know.
That's why I was gonna say loss could be either way. Like,
Right.
you could get
That's
pulled
good.
in to the point where you're not, okay. A good example of that is if you're asking somebody for something specific, you're like, I need you to critique this, but the story's so good that they kind of forgot to critique it.
Oh, right.
That can happen. That type of loss. Thanks for clearing that up for us, Natalie.
Thank you, because I was like, just tell me what I need to do.
Yeah, Barrett says I was worried this was where DL was going to call me out for being a beta reader. No, you were fine. You were fine.
You got the job done. That's all that matters. Like,
you were fine. I'm just happy that you finished it, Barrett, because us writers, when we do a beta run finally, that means we already did our alpha run. We've already done a whole bunch of revisions and blah 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 blah. And we're at the beta run. And people, it's so hard to get people to finish books, even if they like it. I mean, a good example of another industry that this happens in: people pay $60 or more for a video game. Most people do not finish them ever.
Yeah.
But they paid and they enjoyed the game, but they did not finish it. Just because someone doesn't finish your book does not mean they disliked it. There are some people that just put a book down because they didn't like it. But a lot of times it's because people are busy.
Yeah.
And when people say busy, it's more like I decided what I'm going to dish my time out to.
Yeah, prioritize.
That's it. And that's all it comes down to. So they may not finish something not because they disliked it. They might not finish it for lots of reasons. But that don't mean that they disliked it, though. I've had not finished some books, not because I disliked it, because I literally kind of got tied up with other things and then completely forgot. Yeah. You know, life happens. All right. Right? Hey, SD. How you doing? Yeah, that internet. You never know when it's going to act funky. Thank you. Yes, everyone press the like button so people can find the video.
Yes, please.
She was on Facebook like cough. So whenever you last readers finish, mainly Barrett. I'm gonna finish my edit, so just waiting on mainly Barrett. No. You know me, I tell you right, like Barrett, when you gonna finish the story? Let's go. You know, I'll tell you right up. But yeah, so it's a labor of love. You know, we gotta go through all the changes, and me finishing my beta run. Not even like the next trenches. It's just one thing after another. It just keeps going.
Like at that point, you're belly surfing. You know, you're just
you are like the next thing, and you're overwhelmed, and you're ripping your you know. You do like this, and your hair's all messed up, and then you're like, just calm down.
That's like a horror all in itself. Just that process. Like
right. Really the whole journey is horror all on its own. I'm just saying, it is. So, all right. So, Bex, that's your critique, and it's a go for it. That needs to definitely be.
Thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Definitely needs to be in that book you're going to be putting out. That definitely is one of them. But all right, so we're gonna go move right on to any questions you may have for this awesome writer. I have a few questions for you so people can get to know you. I'm actually going to ask them now. And if anyone has any questions, you can put them in the chat. Remember to put a Q in front of that. All right. So, Bex, what made you decide to write horror? Was there a defining thing or a moment that you were like, aha, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to write. Was there a moment in your life that you felt like that, you know?
I think for me, it wasn't, I think it was a culmination of things. Mm-hmm. I think for one, as a kid, there was a lot going on in my home life that I had no control over, like none. And there was a lot of things going on at school and just feeling so helpless, like you can't do anything, and fearful of everything. It was a way for me to kind of create and control that fear, to take it back, so that way I wasn't afraid. And so when I found out that I could kind of put together a story, and I think if you guys have watched any of my earlier videos, I know I've mentioned it 2 or 3 times by now, but there was this poem that I wrote when I was in, like, it was either fourth, fifth, or sixth grade. I want to say that it was fifth grade, but I don't know. Anyway, the story was called, or it was a poem. Our teacher had given us an assignment and basically had told us to write a poem. She never said what about, nothing like that, but I was working through a lot of stuff at that age. And so my little poem that I turned in was like way different than the rest of the kids. And so from that poem, which I had named the poem The Living Dead. And it was like, the pain is more than I can bear. It ties my stomach up in knots and bangs my head all to pieces. My muscles begin to stiffen. My teeth begin to grind. My bones begin to crack and decay. My lips turn into wine. My eyes begin to water, not with tears, but blood. My feet harden and crackle as I walk along earth's mud. Time races by. You can hear all the once silent shrieks and screams. And now you too can recognize what living dead means. So after that poem,
Love it.
I ended up having to go to the counselor's office. They come and got me out of class. Like it was easy to do. And so I had to get counseling, and like the counselor came every week, 2 times a week to my class to just get me out of class, take me into her office. And like, she always wanted to know what's going on with your home life. Are you okay? It was, but it was my imagination, it wasn't, there wasn't nothing out of the ordinary, I guess.
You're like, I'm expressing myself.
Yeah. And I think it was just a way later in life, writing these types of stories were ways for me to work through some issues that, I didn't have control over, that I was fearful of. And this was a way to turn the tables and not be the one in the fear, but the one kind of working through those issues and ending it in a way that, brought me some closure.
Right, exactly.
In situations. So in every story, there's always one line of truth. And that's where the story builds from imagination, imagination part of the story. But there's always one line in every story that is seated in something true. So
I love that. That was a great poem. I love it.
Well, it scared my teacher. I think I was either in 5th grade Myers class or 6th grade Arnold.
That's surprising with teachers, because I mean, if you as a kid, you're being like watched like a hawk in most cases, and they're waiting or looking for anything to be wrong just to make sure that they catch it, as they say.
It made me feel like something was wrong with me, because
and that's the worst thing you could do. That's the worst thing a authority figure can do to a kid, and that could be for any kind of setting. And we all go through different things in that setting. Like I remember one time as a child, and my mom didn't do it to be, that was just her way. Like she was very protective, and growing up where she did. And my first interest in boys was when I probably was like, I don't know, 10 maybe. And I think like I wrote stories. I would write stories, and I wrote like a little romance story. And of course it's innocent because I'm a little kid. I don't anything like that. And my mom found it, and she was kind of like, like upset with me. And she was like, did this happen type of situation? I'm like, no, well, it wasn't anything in it. It's just that it was the first boy that I liked. So I kind of wrote a story off of like falling in love with him type of situation,
Yeah.
And I'm a writer right at that age. But my mom kind of took it the wrong way. And then she was kind of like, and so I got in trouble. And then I was kind of like, I can't tell her stuff. And then that's what I got from it. So it's when you're a child, and then your authority figures, they react a certain way to things. It's going to make you react. So every action has a reaction. And unfortunately, that's like with your situation, they make you feel like something was wrong with you because you were expressing yourself, and then they didn't feel it was the right way. Like you can't tell someone what's the right way for them to express themselves word-based, and you're taking it the wrong way. So that's...
I think for me, it was more about like, it was traumatic. It was, I know
Of
it doesn't
course.
seem like very traumatic because it's just a classroom and a poem, but
That
like
is traumatic though.
I can't remember what teacher it was and what grade it was. I just remember being pulled out, and I know it was towards the front of the school,
Yeah.
but it was so traumatic that I still can remember every word to a poem I wrote
Well,
when
I
I
know
was
that's
like
amazing.
11
I was
years
like,
old.
I was like,
So
wow.
it just, like, I can rattle it right off the top of my head because it was that traumatic. It was a pivotal moment for me. And it wasn't until years later that I had an awesome teacher that was like, you know what? You have something.
Yes.
You have a way of telling a story. You need to do this. This is what you should be doing because you can find your voice, and you can make this into a career, because if you find something that you love, find a way to get paid for doing it, and you'll love your job for the rest of your life.
Exactly. And that was really good. I love that poem. I actually recommend, and I know it has a connection for you, but I recommend putting that poem in one of your books. Just, something. And I think sometimes us writers, especially if we had emotional upbringings and things happen to us later in life, even that, sometimes we might need to dedicate a book to ourselves. We do.
That's interesting.
And that poem right there is a part of you. So that
Yeah.
would be cool to see that in the front of a book that you dedicated to you and anything you've gone through. And you put that poem in there, that who's gonna forget that? That poem is awesome, by the way. Like that also that you remember it off the top of your head like that.
Yeah, it was that. I mean,
Amazing.
it's ingrained in there. It's up there.
I
Now
can tell you said like boom, boom, boom,
yeah,
nothing. Like
I
nothing.
may be okay with, I mean, maybe I could put it in like you did with The Room Within,
Yeah.
like how you put a poem in the back,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
I
Mhm.
mean, I might be able to put it in there with my, short
Yeah.
story
You
horror
could.
collection,
It's horror,
because I
so
mean, it would fit, right?
it will fit. It will
Yeah.
fit the thing. So yeah, just food for thought. All right,
I
so
appreciate
let's
that.
see. Oh, Adam say he has to go to bed. All right, we'll see
Thanks,
you,
Adam.
Adam. Thanks for coming and watching and listening. Let's see if anyone had any questions. I think Barrett he got some fun ones for you. He said that one needs to go in the collection. Your short
Okay,
story.
I
Definitely
will
put
put it
that
in
burning
there.
love in there.
I will put it in.
Barrett says Reese's or Snickers.
Oh boy. I
You
I
know
can
him,
eat.
Mr. Rapid Fire.
I like Reese's, but I like Snickers. But I think because of an airplane incident, I will never eat Snickers again. So
Oh,
Reese's all the way.
that story. Oh, oh. Barrett says Cheetos or Lay's.
Neither. Blah.
Oh, now I'm gonna have to jump in on. I'm gonna get me some Cheetos, but I make sure I
I mean,
don't
I
buy
will
them.
eat them if they're the only chips left in the house, and I'm eating a sandwich and want chips to go with it. I
Right?
will eat it, but my choice would be neither of those.
I have to stay away from. I don't buy the cheese because the cheese likes my hips. I don't.
Oh yeah,
And the cheese. I love Cheetos
I
though.
like cheese, but cheese don't like me.
Right? I know, right? All right. Barrett says Coke or Pepsi.
I don't drink soda.
See, we here, Bex.
I
Right?
drink water and I drink tea, and
Girl,
that's it.
girl. Yeah, I don't drink soda either.
I don't drink
The only thing I
soda.
drink is water products if I drink water because I love juice. If you give me juice, it's over. Pineapple juice,
Pineapple
lemonade,
juice, yes,
lemonade of
right
any
here,
flavor, girl.
right
If I see lemonade, strawberry lemonade, raspberry lemonade, blueberry
here.
lemonade, if they
Yes,
make up some kind of new lemonade, I
yeah.
want it mango lemonade. Listen, I can't have it though. My body doesn't like
It's like
processing no
nope.
sugar, but I love it. So once a year on my birthday, I get my favorite juice and I get myself some cheesecake and I treat myself because other than
Barrett
that,
hates
stay away.
cheesecake. We found that out today. Me and my husband were watching some of Barrett's videos, and
Mhm.
I was like, "How can you not like cheesecake?" But apparently,
Oh, hey, everybody like what they like.
right?
Cheesecake is like, listen, I love me some cheesecake. Okay, now I like the whipped cheesecake, the kind you can just take a spoon and get out. They got the like grand crack at the bottom, just
Yeah.
like
My daughter makes the best cheesecake, and I
Oh,
usually only get to eat it once a year.
somebody like her is dangerous then for me.
Yes, because she makes it so thick and creamy. It's like, oh, I gotta have one piece. But if you eat more than one piece, it's just gonna be, oh,
I know, right? And this is dangerous. And oh, macaroons. Listen, macaroons, like the real macaroons with the colorful and all the flavors. I can't buy those. If I buy them, all 12 are gone.
in one sitting, right?
One sitting.
I'm
It's
like
over.
that with bonbons. I
I go
love.
back and reach, and there's nothing there.
Yeah.
Barrett said, "I'm so sorry. I love that writing became your refuge." Yes, we need something. We all need something. Oh yeah, he's catch the replay. That's when he's saying, "But
Thank you, Adam, for coming. We appreciate you.
and we had someone else pop in late. Hi, Stewie.
Stewie! Hi,
Hi,
Stewie!
Stewie. Thanks for dropping in. Thank you. I appreciate it. All righty. And let's see if anyone else have anything.
Real quick, then I'm going to turn the tables on you.
Oh, okay.
Okay, wait. Bye, Colin. Thank you for coming. We
Oh,
appreciate
bye,
you.
Colin. Yeah, love you. Bye. I got the bot. No worries.
I want to know how this has been for you. Because I
Oh.
know I was so nervous coming on. But how has it been for you? Because this is your baby now. You get to raise this baby. So how are you liking it?
I love it because if I get to talk about horror and scary things and get to hear new horror stories, please, I'm in heaven. So I'm enjoying it. I'm not like really the nervous type. Really, I've never gotten too nervous in my life. I will say that I think I did get nervous a little bit when I first came on Critique Group Live for the first time and read a part of Cagliostro. Okay, so that was the first time in my life.
Wow.
Age 36. I was 36 at the time, 37 now, and was nervous. I've never felt it before. And I'm a performing artist. Like I've danced on stages of all sizes, coming on there doing my thing.
But reading in front of me and Barrett, that was your
right. I was like, oh, because I gotta read the story because writing is like a labor of love for me, even more so it seems than dance is for me. So that was the only time in my life I've ever gotten nervous. So no, I wasn't nervous about it. I was excited and happy to do it because it's horror. And if I can bring something I love to others to see it, it's always been my thing. That's why I did dance because I was expressing another part of me. I've even actually contemplated bringing my dance into my writing channel.
Oh, I would love that.
Because I take stories sometimes, and then the way I edit my videos for my performances are storytelling. So I was thinking about uploading my my Oz project, my Wizard of Oz project that I did.
Yeah.
To do that performance.
The costume would be amazing, first of all.
Yeah, I did of course I make all my costumes. So I did all 5 costumes. I did the Cowardly Lion. I did, of course, I did the Cowardly Lion. I did the Scarecrow. I did the Wizard of Oz with a slight mixture of the witch. Most people probably didn't realize that. And then I did Dorothy, of course. And then Hitman. So I did all 5 of those. So technically 6. But I thought about putting it up because I had to dance that performance 5 times in order to do the edits the way I need to do the edits. So I'm thinking about uploading it just so people can see what I mean by you writing a story but performance arts. So I'm just going to upload it. It's been done. So I think that's what I'm probably going to do. And I'm probably going to integrate a new series into my channel at some point where write a story, dance a story. So
that's awesome.
Every time I perform, I'm telling a story. That's why I go after today when I record it, is I have a hafla. We call them belly dance haflas, and I have a virtual show that I run. So that's on February the 5th, and it's online. It's on YouTube. It's free to watch, and it's live. I usually just premiere it, and all the dancers usually either follow the theme or they don't have to. I always follow the theme, and I'm usually telling a story. My dances are always about something, whether something happened to me or I feel something at the time. The theme for this one was Born New. So usually I find music that's something, and all my stuff is improv. So I don't practice any of my dances. I do them.
Just let it come to you. Yeah.
But the story is in my head. So that's usually. So I thought about doing that. I think people on this channel may like some of those performances because of their storytelling. So I think I might do that. But yes, I am enjoying this show immensely. I really think it's going to be great, and I'll be glad to get as many people as possible in front of others and let their stories get out here before they're out there, so they get some taste and they also can get some critiques if they want them and things like that. So yeah, looking forward to it. I think it's going to be really good.
If y'all were wondering, this is blood splatter.
It is.
I dressed that for our horror edition.
Actually, I have something I'm end up having to mail you back. Actually, I have a few of them. When I used to go to the festivals and stuff that I go to, when I used to dance live, some of the people make things and they sold things there. I have these flowers that go in your hair, and they have eyeballs on them.
Oh, wow.
So they're horror based, right? They're
Yes.
horror based. So I have to send you one because it's really cool.
That would scare my grandbabies. Like, that would scare them good.
Really cool.
But,
you probably wear it for your channel or something because it's really cool. It's like a nice flower, but it has an eyeball in
it. That would be awesome.
Yeah, it's so fun. I love stuff like that. Let's see. AF says I added a poem to my horror collection in the print version as an extra. Right, and that's what I did with The Room Within. So the extra, I put like a little excerpt from Cagliostro, and I put a poem in there. And Aphrodite Lee actually put a little excerpt from her show horror in there too.
I would not have thought to put a poem in my short story collection, but you guys would say me like maybe I will. You know?
Yeah, you can do some of that because if you could do poetry, then you can also put some of the horror poetry. Like I have horror poetry, romance. I have all these different types of horror. And I was like, you know what? Why not? I can put this one in there. I have so many. So like, why not? Let's see. SD said my husband doesn't like chocolate. I'm not a chocolate fan. I will admit. Like I like chocolate ice cream, which is weird. But I'm not a chocolate fan. That doesn't impress me. Like someone said, I got some chocolate candy bars. I don't eat candy bars.
I like chocolate gravy. That's chocolate gravy and biscuits.
That sounds good. My daughter loves Hershey's chocolate, like just the regular Hershey's chocolate. That's what she likes. I'm not a fan of chocolate. I don't know. I'm just not. I'm like a fruity girl, I think, because I like I always like to put like pineapples and stuff on my ice cream and strawberries and stuff, and I like desserts that were fruity because I used to be an apple pie girl. Like I'm an apple pie girl. That was it. Like I always wanted my apple pie. And
I don't eat a lot of candy. I just don't. Like
I don't know into it.
On a blue moon, I will have like a Reese's and a Kit Kat because I have to eat them together. I can't.
Halloween, I have candy, and Valentine's Day, I buy me some kind of really expensive, like up to the type of candy. But now, Halloween, I dibble dabble.
Once a year, I buy me and my husband. I buy us chocolate covered cherries because we both like those. But I'm not a candy person. I don't eat candy all the time, but my husband, he will eat candy all day, every day. Like it's ridiculous. He eats a lot of candy.
Yep. I love what I love, and some people like candy. I'm just not a candy person. Yeah. Natalie said getting critique is scary because it is also public critique, not a private email.
Right.
Yes, that can be scary for some. I was like, oh no. She said, oh, she's talking to maybe Barrett, maybe. Yep, I think she's talking to Barrett. All right. Yes, Sally. Hello, apple pie with strudel on top. Yes,
it's on top.
Yes, that's a good kind. And then you look, if you get me a slice of apple pie and a scoop of vanilla ice cream,
like a la mode, like
right? Listen, that's all I need. I'm good otherwise. All right, so we're moving into the last segment of closing, and this is fun. And I can't wait for everyone to see who my next guest is, so people get signed up. Well, I'm gonna have to start knocking on people's doors. Don't make me come for you, okay? Because I will, and it's gonna be scary, okay? All right, so I'm going to get my lovely guest to do her closing, and also remember to plug anything you have going on, Bex. Don't forget all about you. We're talking about you right now. So anything that's going on your channel, any tidbits about your stories coming out, type of things, and please do plug that here. And if I forgot your links below, I'm going to double check that, but I will put all of Beck's links below. To make sure that you all can find her. You can always click her here, Horace, but you can find her, and I'll have all her links below for sure later.
So much
down there. But I'm gonna go ahead and turn it over to you so you can close out to your segment and tell us all the things that you have happening.
Okay, well, I'm Bex. My channel is called The Novel Nana on YouTube. I write mostly in the horror genre and upload my videos usually on Thursdays around 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. I'm currently working on 2 projects at once. One of them is the first book in a 3-book series called Papa's Playthings. The book number 1 is Shattered Doll, trying to get that ready for edits. And then I'm also currently putting together my short story collection, getting it ready for beta readers. And that short story collection will be called A Touch of Madness. So it's a lot of psychological thriller / horror type stories. I have a lot going on. As you guys know, I am always on the critique group live, not the spinoff, but the original with Barrett. You can find me there every single month, second Thursday of the month on his channel. Also, let's see. I have a lot of collabs coming up. I have a collab with Sam Wicker. So we are having a little show. It's going to be called Helping Hands. We'll be doing that once a month for the next 6 months, and it's basically a live stream where you can write us your questions, and we will answer any writerly concerns or issues that you might be facing. We will kind of give you our advice, or just answer whatever questions you might have. And let's see, I have Chi, a prompt video challenge coming up with her soon, and that will be on February the 3rd, and then CGL on the 10th, and then I have Helping Hands on the 13th, and then I have what else do I have? There's so much stuff coming up. Just stay tuned, guys. Thank you again, Tillery, for having me here. I so appreciate you. You know I love you. And all my links, guys, are listed below. So thanks
Yep.
again.
Yep, she's amazing. She got a lot of stuff going on. That's the way we want to do it. Yeah, keep it going. Getting connected with everybody is always good to do. And alrighty, I just want to check the chat real quick. Thank you. I'm glad
Thank
you're
you.
here, Barrett. Yeah, thank you for coming. Thank everyone
you.
for showing up and coming. And if you're catching this on replay, then thank you for watching the replay. Give us a like. If you are a horror writer or you're interested in horror, then please submit. I have the links below for that.
Yes.
And then I will be in contact with you. If you so happen to know a horror writer, could be also a horror tuber or a booktuber who also writes in the horror genre. Remember, that genre is widespread. Okay, it could be a subgenre. As long as it has some horror elements, I will allow it on CGLHorror.
She'll allow it.
I will allow it. Okay, so
I think you did great, Tillery. You did
oh,
great.
thank you. I really enjoyed this, everyone. And as you know, I'm author Tillery, the Mistress of Horror. I love to talk about all things horror over here on this channel. You can catch me once a month here on CGLHorror. Also, I do weekly videos in most cases, unless I have CGLHorror coming up or some other tidbit type of video that's been being saved. I do my book tour series, which doesn't just have horror books in it, it has all kinds of books in it because you get to see my collection of books. And then I'm also going to be introducing a new show soon, hopefully next month, but I'm still getting the area ready for the show, which is the Lair of the Mistress, which is moi. I'll be talking about all things horror. That's going to be video game horror, movie horror, and book horror. So I'm going to cover you in all the horror things that I can think of. So that'll be coming up. So please keep a lookout for that. And you can find all kinds of things, horror and not so horror, over here on my channel. So thank you all for joining us, and my lovely co-host / guest, Bex, the Novel Nana. And we will see you at the next show. Stay scared.
Bye, guys.